If you would, what year were you elected as clerk of court?
At the end of 2020.
At the end of 2020?
Yes.
And prior to that, did you have any involvement or experience with the state judicial system?
I did.
And could you tell the court what that was, please?
I was a South Carolina official court reporter for about 14 years.
All right. And were you, in being an official court reporter, you would serve in the courtroom, which is Ms. Harris is here today, is that correct?
That's
what
correct.
Was your, all right. And was that primarily in the 14th Circuit?
It was primarily in the 14th Circuit. However, I did travel throughout the state.
Did you have any other experience in professional experience prior to becoming a court reporter or clerk of court?
I was a court reporter freelance for 2 years before that.
Okay. And then any other professional pursuits you've had over the course of your career?
I was able to be a middle school teacher, and I worked for the Board of Disabilities for a few years as well.
Let me go ahead and just kind of get straight to it. In your capacity as clerk of court and in your previous experience being a court reporter, were you familiar with the rules that apply to court staff as it comes to interactions with jurors during the course of a criminal trial or a civil trial for that matter?
Yes.
All right. And could you tell the court generally what those rules are as far as what contact is permissible and what contact is not permissible, just very quickly?
The judge gives the law and gives the instructions for a jury, and the attorneys will state their opening statements, their closing arguments, and basically the clerk of court and anyone else, court reporter, we're there to, my understanding would be to make sure that everyone's taken care of. Do you need some Kleenex? Do you need some water? Different things like that, just to make sure that they're taken care of.
Is it common for clerks of court to have interaction with jurors during the course of a trial to see to those various logistical needs that you just described?
Yes.
And did that happen in the Murdaugh case?
It did.
And can you give us an example of some of the logistical things that you or other things that you would see to deal with any needs that the jurors may have? I mean, did you provide them food, coffee, make sure they were comfortable, things like that?
Yes, all of that.
All right. Provide blankets for them if they were cold?
Our courtroom was very cold in Colleton County, yes.
Did you provide them with aspirin or Tylenol if they needed, make sure coffee and snacks were available?
Yes.
Did you take lunch orders for them so that they were fed each day?
Yes.
At any time, did you interact with any juror in an attempt to influence their view of the facts in the State v. Murdaugh case?
No.
All right. Now I want to ask you some specifics about that and some allegations that have been raised. At any time, did you tell the jury not to be fooled by evidence presented by Mr. Murdaugh's attorneys?
I did not.
At any time, did you instruct the jury to watch him closely and look at his actions?
I did not.
At any time, did you instruct the jury or tell the jury to look at his movements?
No.
At any time, as the jury moved to deliberate, did you tell the jury this shouldn't take long?
No.
At any time, did you tell the jury that the defense case, watch out for the defense case, they're going to try to throw you off, or anything along those lines that was meant to influence the jurors against Mr. Murdaugh?
No.
Let me ask you if you ever made any comment to the jurors about the fact that the defendant was going to testify. Did you have a conversation in the presence of the jurors prior to the defendant testifying about the fact that he was about to testify?
It wasn't directly related to the jurors. I was talking to Mr. Bill, who was our bailiff foreman, our bailiff over the jury, and I was talking to him about that.
All right. And what did you say?
I told him what I had just come from downstairs telling my security and bailiff office, that Judge Newman had allowed more testimony in regarding the financials, and that also the defendant had decided that he may testify.
All right. And where were the jurors at the point that that conversation occurred?
There were a few jurors standing in line, and there were some in the bathroom, I'm sure, because they said they were waiting on jurors to get out of the bathroom. And there were some in the jury room just milling around from what I could see, looking down the hallway.
And again, what were the words that you said during that conversation? What were the effect of them?
To Mr. Bill.
Yeah. And what did you say?
I told him that that Judge Newman was allowing more of the financial evidence in, which would prolong the testimony in the trial a little bit, and also that the defendant had decided that he was going to testify.
Did you say anything about this being an important day, pay attention, we'll get coffee for you, things like that during that?
I usually give a little pep talk to the jurors. It's sometimes hard sitting a long time, but my usual, and I do remember saying, pay attention, it's a big day today. Whatever you need, let Mr. Bill know, or one of the other bailiffs, and they'll be glad to get it for you.
Did your comments, or were your comments in any way phrased in favor of one side or against another side, or were they more of a neutral comment about paying attention?
No, it was not for one side or the other.
Were you present when the jury went to the Moselle property to conduct the jury view?
I was.
All right. And was Judge Newman there as well?
He was.
During the time that you were on the property, traveling there, traveling back, did you have any conversation with the jurors where you made any comment about the substance of any testimony or any comment about the merits or the strength of the case?
No, no.
Did you have a quick comment to the forelady about how the property was beautiful and there were tea olive trees there that bloom and smell good, or words to that effect?
I did.
All right. And was there any other conversation related that you had where you made any comment about the case or the merits or anything like that?
Oh, no, no.
During the course of this trial, did you have a bailiff employee whose primary job it was to see to the jury and their security and to keep them separate from everyone else that was involved in this trial?
I did.
And who was that?
Mr. Bill Polk.
All right. And he was ultimately the jury coordinator in this particular case?
That's correct.
During the course of the deliberations, once the jury went back there, did you have any contact with the juries or have any substantive discussion with them?
Not at all.
Did you have any discussion with them about logistics, about staying in a hotel or anything like that?
I did not.
Did you have any interaction with the jurors or anything to do with them having smoke breaks or anything like that?
I did not.
During the course of the trial, did you have any discussion or interaction with the jurors about them giving any interviews to the media or making themselves available to the media? I'm asking during the course of the trial itself.
No, not during the course of the trial.
After the verdict had been reached and the case was in sentencing, did you have any conversation with any jurors at that time, after they had already entered their verdict and been individually polled?
Yes, after the sentencing.
All right, and tell the court what that interaction was at that time.
There were several outlets, news outlets, that wanted to interview the jury as a whole and really wanted to get them up to New York. And so I was trying to get a hold of all the jurors to talk about that. That was something we had not prepared for.
Did you at all pressure the jurors to speak, or did you just tell them that it was their option to speak or not, and here's the contact information?
I did not pressure the jury to speak. No.
Did you advise them that it was their decision and their decision alone whether or not they wished to speak to the media?
It was totally their decision.
And did you advise them of that?
Yes, yes.
I'm going to ask it again, but I just want to be sure. At any time, did you make any comment to any juror or in the presence of any juror in which you at all tried to influence them in favor of one side or against another?
I did not.
Did you understand, being a longtime court employee and clerk of court, that that is outside the boundaries of what is appropriate interactions with the jurors during the course of the trial?
Absolutely.
And at any time did you violate that rule that you understood?
I did not.
Court's indulgence, 1 moment. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.